Thanks for being there. Thanks for having us on this Tuesday afternoon. It's BBC Radio Cumbria. Go out, tell a friend, do me a favour. Third is on. Weekday afternoons, 12 till 3. BG's there, and you should be dancing. It's some 16 minutes to 1 now. This week's theme for lunchtime talkback, uniform. Uniforms. We all like a little bit of uniform, don't we? Easy, Tiger, easy. Have you, do you follow a profession, a line of work that means you wear a uniform? Mary in Carlisle, for 10 years, she wore a uniform. She's online now to tell us more. Afternoon, Mary.
Good afternoon, Fern.
How are you, my darling?
I'm all the better for speaking to you.
Oh, schmoozing with me now. You're schmoozing with the turn. Stop it.
I can't help it.
10 years down the line as an air hostess or an air steward. Now, I need to get this right. Stewardess, hostess, what title do you prefer?
Air hostess, darling.
Air hostess. Air hostess, darling. Okay.
Well, it depended who was speaking to me, whether it was a man or a woman. The darling came from the man.
Air hostess sounds fine to me. And you were never, ever, ever a trolley dolly.
Don't even go there.
You see, I can go there because an old flatmate of mine, she used to work for an airline company, and she used to get very, very hot under the collar. The idea that anyone would ever suggest that she was a trolley dolly, because it's very, very hard graft, isn't it, working up there?
It is, and it was very professional. If you weren't professional, then you're out. And I'm sorry, being a trolley dolly is not exactly being professional.
No, not at all, not at all.
And it was very, very hard work actually on the aircraft in the flight.
So which company did you work for?
I had the pleasure of working for an airline called British Caledonian Airways.
Right, and which section of the globe did you used to travel?
Well, we were fortunate because we were able to do short haul and long haul. So I was in South America, Africa, all around Europe. I was very, very fortunate. I got to see parts of the world that I would never have done.
Well, that's the wonderful thing about this line of work. It gives you the opportunity to travel. Obviously, there's going to be stopovers. And for that reason, those of us back here on terra firma, good old Joe Public, we tend to think this is a very, very glamorous role. But as you rightly pointed out, there's a lot of training that goes into this. There's a lot of hard graft in the work that you did. Yeah,
well, you were talking about the trolley dolly. You should try pushing one of those full trolleys that was full up that passageway shortly after the aircraft, when the aircraft was still ascending, to start doing the drinks and what have you. Oh boy, it fairly built the muscles up in my arms.
I can imagine it did, and that would not have been made easy if there was a little bit of turbulence as well.
Well, we had our moments. Yes, one time I was giving out the meals, and it was in times when we actually walked out and we had 2 meals. They were on trays, and I got up to the third from front row, and we hit a bit of turbulence. It lifted me right up in the air, and I landed on the lap of the person sitting in the middle, but I still had both meals in my hand, still in one piece.
It's one way to make an impression with a passenger, though, isn't it? And
well,
you and the passenger in question, are you still going strong?
Well, I think his knees gave out after that flight.
He didn't bank on that, did he, when he bought his ticket?
No, neither did I.
No, I can imagine not. You see, when I watch you guys working, and you're always very, very calm, and obviously you need to be, especially if there's turbulence going off, and I've seen air stewards, stewardesses, and they're so calm and collective, totally, as though nothing is going on. I mean, do you like doing roller coaster rides or something?
Not particularly. But the thing is, we had been trained about what different situations would happen or could happen on the aircraft. And we know what to do, and so we're concerned for the passenger because they obviously don't know. And we merely pass on because we are concerned for them, and we were there to look after them. So we passed on what we knew to try and help them to feel more secure and more at ease in the situation.
So where did you do your training?
Down in Gatwick Airport.
Right. And how long did the training take? Because I know this is not a straightforward process, is it? Because you've got to learn everything. Safety on the flight. There's also, there's life-saving, first aid. All of that comes into play, doesn't it?
Everything. Yeah, it was 8 weeks. 8 8-week course.
Who encouraged you to become an air hostess in the first place?
Well, I'm the youngest of 11 children.
Right.
Are you ready for that?
The youngest of 11 children?
Yes.
11 children?
Yes.
Did your parents not have a television set or something?
They didn't actually. No.
Oh.
No, but eventually we decided to put my mum up on a pedestal. That way my dad couldn't get at her.
So the youngest of 11, so was it your parents or was it one of your siblings that encouraged you to become an air
One of my older
hostess?
sisters worked for British Caledonian Airways at the airport in Glasgow. And she got talking to a lot of the flying staff, etc. And she came home and she said, Mary, she said, you could do that. She said, and I'm saying, oh, Sally, don't be silly, you know. I mean, you need to be intelligent, good-looking, etc., etc. All these impressions that you do have of air hostesses. And she says, well, I don't care what you say, she says. She said, I know you could do it. So she got an application form for me, sat over me while I filled it out, took me to get my photographs taken, and she sent it off. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I had an interview.
So you've got your sister to thank?
I have indeed. And 2 weeks after that, I was on the course.
Just think the amount of duty-free you had to bring home for your sister to say thank you for forcing me, for twisting my arm to get me to go for the job in the first place. British Caledonian Airways, it's always a bone of contention with all staff, depending on which company you're working for, which flights you're operating. But the uniform, British Caledonian, what was it like?
Oh, it was lovely. We wore a kilt, a tartan kilt and jacket with a wee tartan berry.
Mm-hmm.
And that kilt got me into trouble a few times, actually.
Really?
Yes, one flight that I did, I was working at the front of the aircraft, and when I had to go down to the back, to the bar, to get something, and I got down to about the second back seat, and the gentleman said to me, one gentleman said, he says, excuse me, dear. He says, you're Scottish, aren't you? I said, yes, sir. And he says, the other 3 girls are English. I said, yes, sir. And he says, I knew it, he says, because you're the only one that knows how to swing a kilt.
Some of these passengers, very, very cheeky, aren't they? Yes, sorry, you were saying?
Oh, you know, I mean, I must admit, I was quite taken aback.
Did you ever meet up with any famous names travelling first class on any of the flights?
Charlie Drake. That's about it.
Charlie Drake. Hello, my darlings.
Yes. Oh, and, oh gosh, if you had seen the difference between her going from about 2 hours out of Gatwick, when she woke up with no makeup, etc. on, and going into the toilets, into the ladies, coming out about an hour later, you would never have known it was the same person. Absolutely incredible.
She took an hour to reapply.
Well, one could say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, say no more, Mary, because you never know. Lawyers might be listening. You just never know, do you?
Oh, don't.
So I've got you there, and I can picture you now in your British Caledonian uniform. Uniform the theme this week for lunchtime talkback. And you and the other girls standing there, by the top of the steps there, welcoming first class, second class passengers on board. Now, I'm led to believe there was some high-kicking nonsense that went on one particular flight. Do you want to pick up on this story?
Well, there were 2 particular flights, actually. I don't know if you want to know about them or not.
I do.
Right. Well, one of them, it was in South America, and we were going from Rio de Janeiro down to Caracas, and when we got on in first class, there was only one gentleman left, and bless him, he'd been on the aircraft since Gatwick, so he'd been there for well over 20 hours, and he had more food, more coffee, more tea, more drinks than he wanted to know about. And we felt so guilty. There were 4 of us in first class and him, and he didn't want anything. And so we thought, look, you don't pay for first class for absolutely nothing, for nothing to be done for you, etc., by the crew. So we all had a wee get together. And, well, if you know the kilt, there is a flap that comes over the front.
There is indeed.
Right. So we picked the flap up, put it into the waistband of the kilt, and we tied napkins round the top of our right legs.
I'm with you so far.
And the 4 of us linked arms, pulled pulled back the curtain. And
From behind the galley curtain.
I don't believe I'm telling this.
From behind the galley curtain, what happened next?
And we all went, da, 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 like kicking our right legs up.
So a bit of a can-can down the aisle.
Well, it was as far as the second row, and then the girl that was first, she fell, and we all fell over the top of her.
You don't get this on BMI Baby.
No, I don't think you'd get it on any other airline.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know, God bless him. He sent in a complimentary letter about the staff that had taken him from...
Usually you hear about first-class passengers because they're flying first class and everything is free. They want, more. And this fella sat there and asked for nothing, not even a glass of water.
Well, the thing is, as I say, he'd been on the aircraft for about 23 hours.
That's some time to travel, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is, you know, and I think he was just absolutely exhausted. He'd read everything he could read, and really there wasn't anything else that he wanted. So, I mean, we had to give him something.
Dear, well, I think you certainly did. It's a wonder you didn't give him a heart attack coming from behind that galley curtain doing that kind of caper.
He did enjoy it, bless him.
I bet he did. Mary, I'd love to speak more. Just tell me now, obviously no longer flying. What do you do these days?
I have the pleasure of working for Gala Bingo, working with customers.
So do you call the numbers or are you there just...
No, I'm on reception. I meet and greet and check people's memberships, and I love it. I've got such lovely old age pensioners and customers that come in, and you know, they just feel so safe in there, and just a wee smile, and it's lovely.
Great stuff, absolutely great stuff.
Dealing with the public is one of the best jobs that you could ever do.
Alrighty, well, as an air hostess, you'd know all about that. These days we find you front of house for Gala Bingo here in Carlisle.
Yes?
If you're in town later this evening, are you on shift tonight?
I'm not.
You're
no,
not. When are you next on? When are you next on?
On Sunday we're having a Christmas party.
All right, well, if you're going down for a little bit of clickety-click this upcoming Sunday, front of house, our Mary. Just go up to her and say, love the stories you were reporting back to Fern about your time up in the air when you were an air hostess.
Oh, bless you, Fern.
There's got to be a book in that for you sometime, I'm thinking. There's got to be a book, definitely.
Well, if you want to write it, fair enough, because I'd love to spend some time with you.
Got to get some clever lawyers first we have, Mary. You take care.
Okay, and thank you very much indeed, and I love the programme.
Bless you.
Right. Bye.